guys, here we are. We're going to do our last lesson of this unit, and we are going to be converting between customary and metric units. And I think if you can follow this pattern, you'll find that this won't be super difficult. All right, so on the front side of your notes, you've got some conversion factors here. These are the factors that we're going to be using to be doing our multiplication here so that we can solve these problems. All right, so if you open up your notes, our very first problem is 10 pounds is how many kilograms? Well, what I know is that I have 10 pounds, and I'm going to take that 10 pounds, the one that I know, and I'm going to make it a fraction over 1, because you know that we can make anything a fraction if we put a 1 underneath it. And then I'm going to multiply this by a conversion factor. Now, in my conversion factor, I want to get rid of the pounds because I want to be left just with kilograms. And you know that if we have something in a numerator and we have the same thing in a denominator, we're going to cancel those out. So when I choose my conversion factor, I'm going to want my pounds, remember LB is the abbreviation for pounds, in the denominator so that when I do my multiplication, these two will cancel each other out because I want to get rid of pounds and I want to be left with kilograms. And so I'm going to put my kilograms in my numerator. I'm going to look at my conversion chart, and we can flip this over, but so that you don't have to watch me flip all the time, I've got one up here that I can look at. And I can see on my conversion chart that we've got 1 pound is equal to 454 thousandths kilograms. And so I'm going to use that conversion factor, and I know that it's 1 pound, then that's equal to 0.454 kilograms. And now all I have to do is just do my multiplication to figure this out. And remember that you can use your calculator for these problems. So first of all, I know that this pounds is going to eliminate this pounds. The pounds in the numerator cancels the pounds in the denominator. And now I just multiply 10 times 454 thousandths. Well, I know when I multiply by 10, I'm just moving my decimal point to the right one place. And so I don't really need my calculator for that one. So this becomes 4 and 54 hundredths kilograms over 1. And I know that any fraction over 1 is just what the numerator says. So my answer here is 4 and 54 hundredths kilograms. All right, once you stop the video then and work out the next problem on your own. See if you can do that. Okay, so our next problem was very similar to the first problem. We've got 23 and 15 hundredths pounds, and again the abbreviation for pounds is LBS. And I'm going to make that a fraction over 1, and then I'm going to multiply it by a conversion factor. And I want my pounds to be in the denominator so that it'll cancel out these pounds because I want to be left with my kilograms. And we know that the conversion factor is 454 thousandths kilograms is 1 pound. We know that from our chart on the front side. The pounds cancel each other out, and we're left with this multiplication problem. 23 and 15 hundredths times 454 thousandths, and I sure don't know that one off the top of my head, so I'm going to use my calculator. 23 and 15 hundredths times 454 thousandths, and I get 10 and 5,101 ten thousandths kilograms over 1. And so my answer is just that numerator, 10 and 5,101 ten thousandths kilograms. All right, now we've got a new one to start on. We've got 6 and 5/10 inches, and we want to know how many centimeters that will be. So I'm going to take my 6 and 5/10 inches and make that a fraction over 1. And then I want to multiply by a conversion factor that will get rid of my inches. That's the one I don't want anymore. and will leave me with centimeters. So I put my inches on the denominator side, and because these inches were on the numerator side. So I look at my chart and I find out that there are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. Inches cancel each other out, and I multiply 6.5 times 2.54 to get how many centimeters will be up here, and then 1 times 1 is 1. So 6.5 times 2.54, and I find out that that should be 16 and 51 hundredths centimeters. And so my answer over here is 16 and 51 hundredths centimeters. I'm going to skip to this next one. So I'm going to go do 22 gallons. And we want to change that into liters. So I make 22 my numerator over 1. I go and find my conversion rate that has gallons to liters. Remember, the abbreviation for liters is capital L or a cursive L. And so I look at my chart and I can see that we have 1 gallon is the same as 3 and 785 thousandths liters. The gallons are going to cancel each other out, and I'm going to multiply 22 times 3.785. And I get 83 and 27 hundredths liters on the top over 1, and so I know my answer is 83 and 27 hundredths liters. I'll write a cursive L for you there so you know what that looks like. All right, I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to bump down to 4 and 92 hundredths miles. And right here is why we don't use a lowercase l for the milliliters, because often we would confuse that then with miles. And we put that as a fraction over 1. And we know that in our conversion factor, we're going to want the miles in the denominator so we can get rid of miles, and we're going to want the kilometers in the numerator. And so we know from our chart that 1 mile is the same as 1,609 kilometers. And so now our miles are canceling each other out. We take 4 and 92 hundredths times 1 and 609 thousandths to find our numerator. And I sure don't know that without doing a long multiplication problem or using my calculator. And I get 7.91628 kilometers, all that over 1. And so I know that that's equal to 7.91628 kilometers. That's an M. All right, I'll skip that next one. I'm going to move down to 18 liters, and we want to find out how many gallons that is. So I take my 18 liters, make that a fraction over 1. I'm going to multiply by something that will give me liters in the bottom and gallons in the top, because I want to convert to gallons. And so I see from my metric to U.S. customary that 1 liter is equal to 0.264, 264 thousandths gallons. And so I'm going to eliminate my liter there, which I got rid of that. That's what I wanted to do. And I want to get gallons. Multiply 1 times 1 is 1. Multiply 18 times 0.264. And I get 4 and 752 thousandths gallons. All right, I'll skip that next one. And then the next one is converting from kilometers to miles. So I have 5 and 5/10 kilometers. I'm going to make that a fraction over 1. And I want to multiply by something that will get rid of my kilometers in the denominator and give me miles in the numerator. And so I look at my conversion factors, and I see that 1 kilometer is 62 hundredths of a mile, 0.62 miles. Kilometers cancel each other out. I've got 5 and 5/10 times 62 hundredths gives me 3 and 41 hundredths in my numerator, and that's miles over 1, and so my answer is 3 and 41 hundredths miles. All right, skip that next one, move on down to 1 and 5/10 kilograms. So 1 and 5/10 kilograms over 1, and I want to convert that to pounds, so I'm going to put pounds up here, and I want kilograms down here, so I check my chart for a conversion, and I can see that 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. These two cancel each other out, and I'm going to take 1 and 5/10 times 2 and 2/10, and I find out that that's 3 and 3/10 pounds over 1, and so my answer is 3 and 3/10 pounds. Alrighty, I'll skip this one and move on to this one. I want to take 14 meters, I'll make that a fraction over 1, and I want to multiply it by something that will take my meters and turn it into inches. And so I look over at meters, and I see that 1 meter is 39 and 37 hundredths inches. My meters cancel each other. And I'm going to take 14 times 39.37, and I see that that's 551 and 18 hundredths inches. And so I have an answer of 551 and 18 hundredths inches. Remember to label. All right, now skip that next one now. These are a little bit trickier here, that's why they're kind of grayed. So, and I don't have enough room up here to do mine, so I am going to get a separate sheet of paper here to do my work so that you can see it better. And so you can see that I have 15 inches, and I want to convert that to meters. So I want meters left up here, and I want to get rid of my inches. All right, so as I look at my conversion factors over here, I see that I have 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. That doesn't help me a whole lot here unless I want to do another problem after this. But I see that I do have 1 meter is 39 and 37 hundredths inches. So it's not exactly what I want, because of course I'd love to have a 1 down here, but I don't. But that's okay, we can work with this. So we're going to cross out the inches, because that's what we needed to cancel. That's the most important thing to get rid of here, because we want to be left with meters. And when we do our multiplication, we've got 15 times 1 is 15. And then 1 times 39.37 is 39.37. And let's not forget that this is our meter up here. Now, we've been talking about the fact that when you have a fraction problem like this, it's just a division problem. And so since we can use our calculator, that's not a big deal for us. We're just going to take 15 and divide it by 39.37. And when we do that, we get a very long number that I'm going to round to 381 thousandths. I'm going to just double check my math there. Make sure I did that right. Yes, we're good. Okay, so 381 thousandths meters. Again, I rounded that. There were lots of digits behind that one. Just rounded it. Okay, so that one was a little bit tricky, but you can still do this. It's still the same procedure. It's just that when you get over here, you have to do division instead of just rewriting the number because there's a 1 in the denominator. Okay, I'm going to stop this video. I want you to go back and try the ones that we didn't do together, and then I will, there'll be another video that you can look at to check your answers. Make sure you check your answers. Okay.